flashing you? Rusty, get in the van.
We're getting in the van. Whoop! Whoa! What was that?
There's somebody else below the cliff.
Camping encounters don't always begin with danger. Sometimes it's just a quiet moment that suddenly feels wrong. A van lit up by police in the middle of nowhere, and deep in the woods, footsteps and something unseen following in the dark. When everything seems normal but something isn't, would you stay and find out or leave before it finds you? The following unsettling footage comes from What Day Is It Wolven, a UK-based van life travel channel focused on solo road journeys, stealth camping, and real experiences across Europe. It is March 12th, 2026 in Germany. During a road trip traveling from Copenhagen, Denmark through Germany, after a long day of driving, the creator pulls over at a quiet roadside location to spend the night inside his van. The area is extremely dark and isolated, with winter temperatures making the setting feel even more uncomfortable. Earlier that day, he had explored a small historic site resembling an old castle and a nearby memorial connected to a former concentration camp, setting the tone for a tense camping encounter.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. There's police outside. Don't know what they want.
Without any warning, bright lights suddenly flood the van. Police officers arrive at the location and begin directing flashlights toward the vehicle, immediately startling the traveler and breaking the silence of the night.
What does that mean?
Control. For identity.
Oh, right. You want my identity?
Identity.
Is someone somewhere else in the car?
No, it's just me.
Just you.
Yeah. No, am I alright to park here for the night?
For what?
The night, am I allowed to park here?
Yeah, it's allowed here.
It's allowed, okay.
Yeah, it's allowed. It's no problem.
The officers photograph his documents and enter the details into their system while confirming that he is alone in the vehicle. The process lasts several minutes as they verify his identity and travel situation.
Pretty much. That's the first time anything like that has happened to me. So I wanted all my identification. On my passport, my driving license, like note down like who's obviously like around, like foreign, I guess. I don't know, like how or why they they were checking what the hell's going on. Like they were beaming in.
After completing the checks, the police confirm that everything is in order. They inform him that he can remain parked overnight as long as he stays inside the van and does not set up any outdoor camping equipment. Even when everything seems under control, moments like this can shift without warning, especially in unfamiliar places at night. If something like this happened to you during a camping encounter, would you feel safe staying or decide to leave right away? The footage comes from Two Seats Forward, a UK-based van life and outdoor adventure channel centered on wild camping off-grid travel and dog-friendly outdoor experiences. It is February 23rd, 2026 in Cannock Chase, Staffordshire, United Kingdom. After a busy week, the couple heads toward Cannock Chase looking for a quiet place to park the van for the night, with their dog Rusty traveling with them. They talk about settling in for the evening, planning to cook dinner inside the van and enjoy a simple overnight stay in the forest. The area is dark and quiet, with very little traffic nearby, giving the location a calm but slightly tense atmosphere, setting the tone for a subtle camping encounter.
Babe, is that a car coming? I can see lights. Is he flashing you? Rusty, get in the van.
We're getting in the van.
Well, we're back in, but we don't know if we're staying here because somebody was flashing the lights at us. They weren't they?
While approaching the chosen camping spot, a nearby car suddenly flashes its headlights directly toward them. The unexpected burst of light immediately catches them off guard, raising concern that someone may have noticed their van while they were trying to camp discreetly. This brief moment quickly turns into an uneasy camping encounter as the uncertainty of being seen disrupts the quiet setting.
Do you think it was my beam at them? I've got a beam on it. I don't even know what to tell me. And I had this big head torch on from Timu. And it's actually like a beam of light. We are on the move.
We're on the move.
You didn't like being flashed at, did you? We'll keep you updated if we're safe. And it's not look suspicious. Look at I can't turn it off. It's your TV one that's broke. Jesus Christ. Bloody hell.
After a few moments, they consider what may have happened. They question whether the headlights were intentionally directed at them, or if it may have been accidental. The uncertainty creates a short but tense moment as they remain unsure of the other driver's intentions, extending the feeling of a quiet but unsettling camping encounter. Once the situation settles, the couple continues with their overnight stay. By morning, the atmosphere is completely different. Bright sunshine fills the area as they prepare breakfast, ride their bikes, and let Rusty run and play nearby. Stealth camping can sometimes come with moments of uncertainty, but the peaceful morning reminds them why they enjoy van life and exploring quiet outdoor locations across the UK. If something like this happened to you during a camping encounter, would you stay and wait it out or leave before anything else changed? At first it was only a knock somewhere in the distance, but then it seemed to follow him through the forest, and by the time he realized he wasn't alone out there, it was already too late. Exploring with Bear is a US-based adventure and Bigfoot exploration channel focused on immersive solo expeditions into forests known for historical Bigfoot activity. On January 26, 2026 in Ohio, United States Bear begins the investigation deep in the woods during a severe winter cold front. The temperature is extremely low, and the forest is covered in snow and ice. As he walks along the trail alone, the environment feels unusually quiet. The darkness, freezing air, and isolation quickly build a tense atmosphere, setting the stage for a chilling camping encounter as he carefully moves across the icy terrain.
Holy smokes! Oh man, that was a huge knock. Whoop! Whoa!
Later in the exploration, Bear comes across a large TP-style structure made from branches. Fresh footprints lead directly into the structure, suggesting recent activity in the area. The discovery increases his caution as he continues moving through the forest. While descending along a trail,
What was that? Holy smokes, man, that scared the crap out of me. Look at this place. I hope I'm going the right way. I might not be. I'm not on the same trail as I was. Oh! It's getting so dark. Big monster cliffs.
the darkness and dense trees make it difficult to determine his direction, and unusual noises around him intensify the feeling of isolation.
Oh man, that was a huge knock. Huge knock. Something's walking. I about twisted my ankle.
Soon after, loud knocks and sounds resembling footsteps begin to follow him through the forest. The repeated noises make him more aware of his surroundings as he carefully continues down the trail.
Double timing it back, there was multiple knocks and things running. Pretty much chasing me out of the forest. Man, my battery's about dead.
And within moments, the camera shut down totally. I couldn't record anything else that happened, and I wasn't even out of the...
As Bear attempts to leave the area, more knocking sounds and running noises echo through the woods. At the same time, his camera battery dies, leaving him unable to continue recording or easily contact anyone. He focuses on navigating safely out of the freezing forest. Despite the difficult conditions, the expedition becomes both physically demanding and mentally intense. Although no clear visual evidence is captured, the combination of unusual sounds, isolation, and harsh winter conditions creates a highly tense camping encounter. If you were alone in a situation like this camping encounter, would you keep going deeper or turn back before it gets worse? The clip comes from Urban Rats, a UK-based urban exploration and stealth camping channel focused on unusual overnight locations in cities. It is February 9th, 2025 in Bolton, United Kingdom, beneath a newly installed billboard near an abandoned aquarium and an active railway viaduct. What seems like a hidden quiet spot at first quickly turns into something far less predictable.
Behind me is the wall, and the rat is going to be climbing up. Guys, I climbed up, I've hit the rail, and nadded myself, honestly to God.
Paul begins the adventure by climbing a roughly 10-foot wall to access the area beneath the billboard, carrying a heavy backpack as he carefully moves through gaps in the railing and narrow footing. After reaching the sheltered space behind the sign, he sets up a DD tarp to block wind and pitches a small one-person tent. The environment is far from peaceful, with temperatures hovering near freezing, and the surrounding area filled with abandoned industrial buildings, scrapyards, and groups of travelers with small fires nearby.
Look, he's over there, burning the fire up, see? It's got a fire burning. Ambulance over there.
Later in the night, movement below the billboard suddenly raises tension. A stranger walks through the area carrying a GTO blaster, playing music and lighting small fires beneath the structure. The individual passes close enough that Paul worries his hiding spot might be exposed, turning the situation into a high-risk camping encounter. At the same time, travelers nearby continue tending fires and talking, filling the otherwise dark industrial area with noise that makes staying hidden far more difficult.
Everybody, wow, what a rough sleep that was last night. Woke up a few times of people shouting and swearing, and it sounded like they were right outside my tent. Just remembered, with no lighter, we're just gonna get ourselves up and get ourselves out of here, and then I'll have a look what's going on outside that door.
As the night continues, the temperature drops further and frost begins forming on exposed metal bars and surfaces. Paul stays alert inside the tent, listening for movement below while dealing with the cold conditions. Despite the harsh environment and missing equipment, he manages to keep a low profile and avoid drawing attention. By morning, frost covers much of the surrounding structure. Paul quietly packs down the camp and carefully climbs back down from the billboard, ending another challenging overnight stay in the middle of the city. If you were in this situation, would you stay through the night or leave before someone notices? This footage comes from the YouTube channel Tim Maroof, run by a Russian creator known for exploring unusual locations and documenting mysterious experiences. His content focuses on uncovering the unknown and searching for answers behind unexplained events. In this particular video, what begins as a simple overnight trip gradually turns into a tense and unpredictable camping encounter deep inside a forest surrounded by unsettling local legends. Tim travels to a forest that locals believe holds a dark secret. According to regional stories, a mysterious sorcerer is said to live deep within these woods. Some believe this figure protects the world from unseen creatures, while others fear he may be the source of the strange horrors rumored to exist there. The story has been shared for years, and most people avoid the forest, especially after nightfall. But driven by curiosity, Tim decides to spend the night there. On July 16th, 2023, as the sun begins to set, Tim arrives at the edge of the forest with his loyal dog, Kushum. Together, they search for a place to set up camp. At first, everything appears normal. The trees move gently in the breeze, and distant birds echo through the canopy. But despite the calm setting, Tim feels something isn't right.
Move away.
After setting up his campsite, he begins to settle in. He eats a quick meal and listens to the natural sounds around him. As daylight fades, he avoids lighting a fire to stay unnoticed. If something is moving through the forest, he doesn't want to attract attention. Soon, darkness covers the forest, bringing a heavy silence. Just as Tim prepares to enter his tent, Kushum suddenly becomes alert. His body stiffens, his ears rise, and he locks his focus on something in the distance. Then he starts barking. Tim immediately senses something is wrong. The dog's reaction is intense, and it sends a chill through him. He listens carefully, but the forest remains silent. As the barking grows more aggressive, Tim steps outside and scans the darkness. Nothing appears out of place yet. Kushum continues reacting to something unseen. The stillness of the forest only makes the situation more unsettling.
Kuchum, where are you going? Do you sense anyone? Is there a what here?
Trusting his instincts, Tim uses a thermal camera to scan the area, hoping to detect anything hidden nearby. Later, exhausted from the tension, he returns to his tent. Kushum remains restless before finally lying down, still alert to every sound. Tim leaves his camera recording overnight. Hours pass quietly until Kushum suddenly starts barking again. At first, Tim assumes it's another animal and waits for it to pass. But this time, the situation feels different.
Chew what?
After a few minutes, the barking stops, and Kushum doesn't return. Concerned, Tim steps outside, but the dog is gone. He waits, hoping his companion will come back, but minutes turn into hours with no sign of him. Unsure what to do, Tim lights a fire, hoping the glow will guide the dog back.
What? I don't know what to do. It's been 2 hours already. I've been calling my Kuchu. He doesn't come. I hope nothing bad happened and he just chased some animal or just went for a walk. Kuchu.
He waits through the night, but even by morning, Kushum is still missing. Now deeply worried, Tim faces a difficult decision: stay at camp or go search. As his food and water run low, he finally begins packing up, still hoping the dog might return at any moment. When that doesn't happen, he heads deeper into the forest, calling out and searching for any sign of him. The video ends abruptly, leaving viewers wondering what happened next. Fortunately, a later update confirms that Kushum was found alive and safe, and the two were eventually reunited. Sometimes everything seems normal until small signs begin to add up. It might be nothing, but it might not be. If you were in that situation, would you keep going or leave before something follows you deeper into the dark? The next clip comes from Moxley's Paranormal World, a UK-based paranormal exploration channel that investigates haunted and historic locations. It is July 4th, 2024 in Moran Bay, near St. Patrick's Chapel in the United Kingdom. The investigator and his son Bradley finished setting up their campsite on the cliff overlooking the chapel ruins. Night has fully settled in, and the coastline is almost completely dark except for their flashlights and the small lights from their equipment. They activate spirit communication devices and check the camera placements before carefully moving through the graveyard and the remains of the chapel. Both stay calm but alert, quietly noting each sound as they continue documenting the surroundings.
What the f***? I seen Bradley put a torch or something on. Right, you can see the lights now. You can see their lights. God damn it, the camera's not picking them up. There's 100% somebody else down there. Just here, and there's somebody else below the cliff. Right, I'm gonna head over to Bradley and make sure he's okay. I'm gonna head over to Bradley to see if he's okay. I'm gonna continuously record this because there's somebody down there. need to make sure he's okay. Because I said to him, if you need me, flash a torch over. I thought I seen a flash, that's what made me look. But that could have been them, I don't know. But there's 100% somebody else below where Budley is, and you can see.
While standing near the chapel, ruins' sudden bangs echo nearby. The rustling sounds seem closer this time. Shadows briefly move across the stone walls, though no clear figure can be identified. The moment is brief but sharp, increasing the sense that something or someone may be nearby.
Trying to keep it low key, apart from now where I've just had to turn the light on. I don't know if it's the same people or different people, but there's definitely somebody else out and about, so I'm going to turn the lights off for a bit. So we both just sat having a bit of a snack, and we just heard some of the weirdest screams coming from out there. It was no animal, that. I don't think it was. I say it was coming from over there.
The investigator becomes aware that other people might be somewhere in the area. The lights are briefly turned off as they attempt to rest for a short period. Later that night, while sitting and eating a small snack, strange screams are heard in the distance. The sounds do not resemble typical animals and appear to come from somewhere beyond the campsite. As the night continues, intermittent noises persist. Faint, whisper-like sounds are reported along with shifting shadows around the edge of the campsite. During the investigation, spirit communication devices are used. Several words are recorded during the session while the investigator asks questions, attempting to identify any presence. Historical references such as Vikings, early Catholics, and pirates are mentioned during the session. Some words appear through the device, but their meaning remains unclear.
If there's any spirits out here, would you like to come forward? Come and speak to me. I'm here to listen to whatever you've got to say. If you are here, can you come and tell me your name? You might not be familiar with the device in my hand.
I've been here 200 years.
I've been here 200 years. If you've been here 200 years, can you tell me who you are, please? I'm just here to speak to you. I believe this place has got a lot of connections to Vikings.
Green eyes.
Green eyes. It's a new word. There's even been pirates that have been reported to have once come here. What do you mean by green eyes?
Impose.
Impose. Can you tell me where we are? If you're really around me, speaking to me, can you tell me this place where I'm sat right now? Did you have any connections to the...
Good.
Did you have any connections to St. Patrick's Chapel?
As dawn begins to break, they start packing up their equipment. Although no clear visual evidence is obtained, both describe the location as carrying a heavy and oppressive feeling throughout the night. The investigation unfolds gradually, beginning with environmental noises, followed by brief shadow movement, possible human presence, and subtle responses from the spirit device. No confirmed paranormal evidence is captured, yet the repeated disturbances and the overall atmosphere leave a strong impression. If you spent a night exploring ruins like these and began hearing screams and whispers in the dark, would you keep investigating or leave before the night became even stranger? The unsettling clip comes from Steve Hayes Adventures, a UK-based outdoor channel focused on solo wild camping, fell walking, and lightweight hiking across the Lake District and other northern landscapes. It is February 6th, 2025 in Cumbria, Northern England, United Kingdom. As evening settles over the fells, Steve finishes setting up his tent beside a tarn. A few distant campers sit roughly 50 meters away, their presence barely noticeable in the wide open landscape. The setting appears calm and quiet. Then suddenly a loud, deep, guttural call echoes sharply across the crags. The sound is strong and abrupt, carrying clearly through the cold night air. Steve immediately stops what he's doing. He notes that he has never heard anything like it before.
I don't think that was a dog, like. I've not heard anything like that before. I know you've got some sheep make some strange. So I've put my meal on. I've put my meal on hold. Just for a minute. I don't know if I caught that on camera, but I heard something there, and I'm sure it wasn't a dog. Couldn't have been that dog.
He briefly considers whether the sound could have been a dog, but quickly rules that out. As he scans the darkness beyond his tent, his posture becomes noticeably more tense. The quiet hills suddenly feel much larger and emptier in the dark.
Last night, I was fairly warm in the tent, but when I had to get up to go to the toilet, it was freezing. I went to get a cup of tea down my neck. I wonder if my neighbours are up yet. Didn't hear any more sounds last night. I want to talk about that in another video. I'll have to do a bit of research on that actually.
The following morning, he confirms that the call did not happen again during the night. In all his previous trips to the area, he has never encountered a noise like that. Aside from that single unexplained call, the camp itself remains uneventful. There is no movement around the tent, no second sound, and no visual confirmation of anything nearby. Yet, in the stillness of a Lake District night, one unfamiliar noise is enough to completely shift the atmosphere. If you were camping alone in those quiet fells and suddenly heard a call like that echo through the night, would you ignore it and go back to sleep? Or stay awake, wondering what made the sound? The next shocking clip of the night comes from Exploring the Unknown, a US-based paranormal channel focused on real-time investigations of forest abandoned areas and locations linked to unexplained activity. It is January 28th, 2024, in a remote woodland area in the United States. The team returns to a section of forest they refer to as their 4 a.m. spot, a place where they have previously reported unusual activity. After setting up their cameras, they begin calling out into the darkness, asking if anything is present, and attempting to trigger a response. For the first minute, the surroundings remain calm. The forest is quiet, and the investigators comment on how peaceful the location feels before anything unusual happens. While continuing to call out, faint lights begin appearing in the distance, flickering through the trees. Almost at the same moment, a branch snaps nearby. The sudden noise breaks the quiet atmosphere and causes the team to pause and listen carefully. Nothing becomes visible. However, the investigators begin to feel as though something might be moving around them just beyond the reach of their lights.
Maybe I'm deaf.
What?
She was looking at me, she's like, there's no sound, it went quiet. It was right as the frog was like, I was like, I looked this way, can't hear anything.
One member of the group notes the strong feeling that someone or something could be watching them. Even though the camera records no clear movement, the group becomes noticeably more cautious. They scan the darkness and listen closely for any additional sounds.
It's like dead.
Yeah. Nothing really happening, but honestly, this was pretty nice either way. So I
agree.
I enjoy it.
Whatever we were dealing with that night during the 4 a.m. video was not of the paranormal realm. On one side, it was good that we kind of got an answer.
After roughly 15 to 25 minutes without any clear visual confirmation, the team begins discussing what the activity might represent. If something is present, it could be a physical presence rather than a paranormal one. The lack of clear evidence makes the situation feel even more unsettling, since they cannot determine whether the lights and noises come from the environment, another person in the woods, or something else entirely. The investigation ends without definitive answers. With no clear explanation, the investigators leave the woodland planning to return another night, in hopes that future visits might reveal what or who was moving through the trees. If you were standing in those woods and suddenly noticed faint lights moving between the trees, would you keep investigating? Or start wondering who else might be out there? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.